Hey, what's up guys? Little man with a big opinion here. Today's video, well, I think the title speaks for itself. I'm going to read a news article and, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and I'll say comment again just because that's part of the bit. CEO Jamie Dimon, however you say his last name, he thinks World War III's already started. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to read what he says in the article and think, yeah, he makes some pretty good points. His two main, things are the war with Ukraine and the conflict going on in the Middle East. So he discusses, Ukraine isn't just a regional conflict going on between two countries. North Korea has troops in Russia. Almost everyone is saying that they are involved in the fighting. There are, other foreign groups helping out in that. And then you can look at the Ukraine side of things and see, Ukraine might be doing most of the fighting with physical troops, but there's still plenty of volunteers there. They just don't get talked about very much anymore because there was a huge influx at the beginning, and it's kind of died down on the volunteer side. But on the equipment side, there are dozens of other countries involved, and on the monetary side, there are dozens of other countries sending funds. Then you've got the whole Middle East conflict. It's mostly Israel and Palestine, but there are incursions going on in Lebanon. There's been reporting that, Israel has a, plan of attack for Iran, and Iran's planned out their stuff, and, it's mostly been firing munitions back and forth at each other. But if you don't know anything about history, here's your little recap. There is a multitude of different things that could have started World War I. It just so happened that Archduke Franz Ferdinand got killed. That got a couple of countries involved. Other countries had to back up their buddies, and they got involved. But you can also look to World War II, which I think is a little bit more relevant. Generally speaking, a lot of the history books like to say September 1 of 39, when Germany invaded Poland. But before that, you've got Japan fighting in China. Even before that, you've got Japan fighting in Korea and Manchukuo. You've got Italy fighting in Ethiopia. And, there's some conflict going on in South America. All of these little regional things, ended up getting tied together because once alliances were solidified, they all kind of got bunched together. Even though that's their war, we're still sending them, even on the lowest level. Germany really didn't send much of any troops to Japan, but they were sending designs to them. They were doing trading with them. Germany and Russia both sent units into Spain. One side's fascist, one side's communist. They both want, one group to come out over the other. And I could go on and on about, different revolutions and civil wars and all those different things. But definitely the period that we're in right now, we really won't know for certain until 50 to 75 years later, when we can talk about, well, World War III really began when Russia invades Ukraine, And, there was a couple of years where it was just an isolated regional conflict. But then, the US economy wasn't doing great. And, you know, they say when one great power is surpassing another great power, conflict will arise. And so, you know, if we are in a World War III situation so far, it hasn't, hit that total war sense with the United States. The big difference between now and, the way it was in World War II is we had, one major attack on U.S. soil for Pearl Harbor, and we had a couple of, you know, minor little hiccups with, a submarine from, Germany and Japan, a couple balloons here, a couple of, shells fired there. But, in terms of, damage to the United States, it's probably less than 1%, probably less than a tenth of a percent. Like, in no way was our industry ever, being hampered when it came to, dealing with that situation. In this conflict, I'm not so much worried about, you know, physical troops landing. Maybe not mainland US. I could kind of believe, territory getting captured in the Pacific or maybe parts of Alaska just because there's not a lot of people there. The part that is more worrisome is, the enemy that you can't see. Does this town's water supply flows in one direction and someone hacks into it and it flows into the other direction? And now, 50,000 people don't have access to clean drinking water for 3 or 4 days until they fix it. That's, on a logistics infrastructure level that we see problems with that every day anyway. In this situation, there's also dozens of other countries that have nuclear capabilities. So, does it hit a point where, the traditional conventional warfare doesn't work? We're going to try to stop this war with a total surrender. But as soon as we go into Russia or into a Russian ally and it seems like we're winning, is the big red button going to get pushed? Are they going to sacrifice, parts of their country to, wipe out tens of thousands of soldiers at a time? Or, just make that area completely uninhabitable? And I only see that happening once or twice before now we're doing it. And, it turns into a, technological warfare with drones and, trying to shut down different things and trying to wipe out money supplies. And, that's one aspect to think about. The other really big problem with this is all of the trade. I think we have avoided a major conflict because nearly every country is intertwined in some form or fashion. If 10 countries get involved, what supplies are we not getting anymore? Are the American people, I say no. I don't even think, I really think that I'm ready to go without, this kind of coffee, or go without this, or go without these things. And the things that we will have access to are probably going to be extremely expensive. The United States not only, would have a build-up period of soldiers and equipment, they're also going to have a build-up of regular everyday consumer goods. So I totally expect a mass disruption in our system and other countries' systems. Depending on who's in office, what are we exporting at this point versus what are we importing? how are we, protecting that? What's the situation on, keeping it the price is reasonable? And that's on like comfort goods and, things to keep us going. That's not on everyday food and water and, things that you need to survive. So expect a major disruption. In his video, or it's not in his article, he talks about it's not when the or it's not if the major conflict breaks out, but it's when the major conflict breaks out. He hopes he's wrong, but it's not just the U.S. economy that's struggling. A lot of the world, while they are posting better numbers, the sentiment is not there. A lot of people think their economies aren't doing great. A lot of people are frustrated. I think I was watching Timcast and they were talking about savings accounts are being drained and income is going up. The average says income is outpacing inflation, but for roughly 50% of people, their income is not outpacing it. And, that could bring up internal conflict. Something breaks out, worldwide. What's to stop, we'll put the two, buzzwords in this video. You got World War III and Civil War. I say it a lot. I really like to think that I would be like a Mel Gibson from The Patriot. I don't know what's going to happen. The only thing I know I can do is put in the resources, time, the energy to take care of myself and my family. The whole point of this video is you should also be doing the same thing. It doesn't matter if you are, male, female, single, married, young, old. Doesn't matter your religion, your politics. Every single person can be putting the time and effort into learning skills that can help you weather whatever problem is going to happen. And I definitely think in my lifetime a problem is going to happen. We just don't know what. Or we kind of know what, we just don't know when. It'd be nice if it happened, 10, 15 years from now, because we're prepping on a budget. I feel comfortable where I'm at, but I don't feel satisfied. And if nothing happens in the next 10 to 15 years, I'll say the same statement and I'll put all that time, resource, and energy into things, and I'll still feel the same way. This is a never ending. It doesn't matter if you have 10 years worth of food put away, there's always that thought of the problem that's going to last 20 years. So, if you haven't started any prepping, now is definitely the point. It's not just, fringe people on the internet saying conflict is coming. There are, more and more people in the public eye and stuff that can be seen every day that indicates something is going to happen. We just don't know when. So, if you've done no prepping at all, you're at 0%. That 1 week worth of food, that's going to put you above millions of people. That 5-hour CPR first aid class, that's going to put you ahead of millions of people. Going to a thrift store, picking up a bunch of these little candles, that's going to help you out. And I could grab a bunch of stuff over here. But anything that you do, consider it like an insurance policy. Anything that you do is going to increase your odds of success. Treat it like you're training for a marathon. Let's hope we are months and months out. If you are sitting on the couch, eating whatever you want, that marathon is going to suck. But if you are implementing a training plan, implementing, a diet of some sort to get ready for this, you've spent 2 weeks getting ready, your 2 week self is going to perform better than your 0 week self. And you can kind of keep adding to that analogy. Your 3 month self is going to do better than your 1 month. Your 6 months is going to do better than your 4 month. And it can be small victories every single day. Like watch one of my videos a day, and you'll be better informed on something. That could be the edge that you need to survive the crap hitting you in the face as it goes through the fan. Something to think about. But I feel like I'm rambling on at this point. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends and family, and leave your questions down below. And with that, catch you in the next one.